Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. We are in for chest and arms this morning, so looking forward to today's session. Chest has been good throughout the weeks. I'm still just dealing with my shoulder niggle that I had all through prep last year and into this off season, but we're just trying to work around it, to be honest, and do what I can. The only thing that is kind of stopping me at the moment is really any sort of heavy incline press. So my rep ranges have changed a bit. Instead of doing like a top set and a back off set, top set being a low 8 to 10, I'm doing 3 to 4 sets of kind of 12 to 15 to keep the load moderate, but also to get the work in as well at the same time. So my kind of only press today is the Incline Smith, and then we do like a chest dip, which is chest focused, and then 2 flies. I can really focus on the flies at the moment because they don't cause any pain, whereas the incline pressing kind of does. So it is what it is. In bodybuilding, you're going to come into niggles and injuries, and it's just a case of how well you can work around it, really. There was points in prep and the start of the off season where, kind of throwing my toys out the pram kind of thing, because it was just so annoying. It still is annoying now because I know I'm stronger than what I'm doing on my chest incline, and it's such a great movement for me. And it's 3-4 years ago I was doing 4 plates a side on the Incline Smith, and now really only doing 3.5. It's a bit different, and it's it's annoying because everything else, pull, legs, shoulders, is still progressing really well. I kind of just got to work through it and keep doing what we're doing. The chest isn't a massive weakness of mine, but it also could be much more of a strength. But saying that, we are starting with pec deck, 4 sets on here to start with, 4 working sets. Drop sets are out, so we ran drop sets for about 3 weeks. They've come out and we're back down to base volume now, so no intensifiers, just straight work really. So 4 sets on here to start with. Again, rep ranges on here, 10 to 15. Still just want to, main point of doing this is obviously to open myself up for my incline. But also we're taking 4 sets of those to failure. So 4 working sets, and the pump is insane after this. So because we had a rest day yesterday, and then my last meal on Tuesday, today's Thursday, last meal on Tuesday was a 5 guys. So we're kind of using that 5 guys, I feel anyway, into this session. So fullness is really good, always in this session. It's nice to get blood flowing through that upper body as well. So, but yeah, we'll crack on. I'll take you through the session. It's a pretty short session, probably take me an hour to do. 4 chest movements and 2 arm movements, that's it. So I like to kind of keep rest periods fairly short now, just because I'm obviously leaner than I was last off season, so I'm not having to take 3 hours to do a chest session. It's more like an hour. I'm able to recover quicker between sets. So I'll crack on. So, pec deck, 2 sets in, 2 to go, kind of hitting the rep range of 10 with new load added, just added 10 kilo on top, because we ran like 20 kilo on top last week, so add another 10. Last week I got just a 20 kilo on top for a set of 15, so load needs to go up anyway. I can comfortably hit a set of 10 with the last one being a bit of a struggle, so yeah, in a good place. I'm also using this kind of back pad as well. So we've got like a cylinder wrapped with a band on the bench, which really helps. It basically helps push the chest out and sits in between the scapula, so you're able to actually get a full stretch instead of if you're just having your back on the bench. It would be hard to get a stretch, and it would limit the amount of range of motion you can get as well. So you just use that kind of semi-cylinder to help push the chest out, and like I said, get better range of motion, better stretch. So therefore, kind of bringing in more fibres, making it harder as well. So the back of the pad used to just get in the way, and I wasn't able to get a full stretch. It would kind of push on my rear delts, where this takes all of that away. So it's pretty good. You can also use like a yoga block, which is like a square one, but it's not as comfortable as the half cylinder. So it fits perfectly in between scapula. So 2 sets left on here. We'll still try and hit 10. I'm pretty happy with that. Just taking more load for more reps already. The accumulation during a few of the sessions is kind of what the aim is. Obviously to lift as heavy as possible. Keep rest periods short so we keep the blood flow moving. Keep us warm so prevention of injury. And take every single set to failure as usual. So. Moving on to these chest dips. So second in the session, just waiting for the Smith for our incline. But I'm fine doing chest dips now. It doesn't really bother me going in between. If anything, it's just going to make me warmer for the incline Smith. So only 2 sets on here, 2 sets of 10 to 12. So again, the load is being pushed. We're not kind of holding back from load at all, especially on this, because there's no real pain going on, which is good. Just got to be careful in the stretch really, but also take that stretch as far as I can. So very thin line of how far to push the stretch, because I don't want it moving into the shoulder when I'm staying on the chest. So there is a point in the stretch where you can go too far and actually put it onto the shoulder, which we don't want. Then you start pressing the shoulders and it just takes away from the whole movement. So keep on the chest, keep tension on, making sure that we're actually leaning over the machine. So when we're in it, obviously elbows are up here, but we're kind of leant over a bit instead of staying straight up. So you would stay straight up if you were training triceps, but we're not, obviously. We want to stay over kind of our hands and make sure that we're pressing through the chest. Good squeeze at the bottom, good stretch at the top. basic movements, basic repetitions. Again, take that to failure. So I think people miss the failure part and the intensity part, which is probably the main things. It doesn't really matter what movements you do, as long as you enjoy them, as long as you take them to complete failure, and you're bringing that intensity as well. So it's all about that, really. To start overthinking it and thinking too much into the movement is just going to retract from the session in general and your ability to progress. Just, majority of the machines you can kind of just sit in and it does the work for you. You just got to keep the intensity up. So 2 sets on here. Ooh. Incline Smith, third movement in. We'll work up to three working sets on here. Probably stick with the same load depending on how it feels. And just go from feedback from the first set, really. If anything, I like to do two heavy, one heavy-ish. And then, like I said, rep ranges are 10 to 15 on here, so we can't go too heavy because I don't just want to be chucking it either. But if I can get 3 good sets out of here, or if I can do like 3.5, so maybe 10 on here today, I'll be happy. 2 sets of that and then drop to 3 for a set of 12, 13. I think it'll be good. And then after this, we've got another movement of flies, cable flies. And then we go into bicep, tricep. So setup in here is pretty standard for an incline. Kind of pressing about there really. So not very low, kind of keeping it quite high, which is where I'm more comfortable. And the bench is a standard incline. Slightly lower, I'd say, than like a high incline, but more focus on chest. So that is the plan for today. And last week I tried the hammer strength. I went back on there for like a set. It didn't really go well. Shoulder was just in a bit of a nightmare. So I came back on here for like the last set. But that was because the Smith machine was occupied. And I was just like, okay, I'll try the hammer strength. And it just didn't go to plan. So glad to be back on here today. Even though we've done chest dips first, I'm glad to be back on here for a solid set and feel good. That hammer strength last week took a lot of power out of me. So this Smith just felt really heavy last week. So just need to set some good numbers this week for next week. So crack on. So 3.5, 3 to 5 for a set of 9. So we will come down just by taking the 5 off and just do 3 aside for hopefully 10 to 12 for 2 sets. This is like the only movement where I'm just slightly on the cautious side of things. Literally out the whole week, this is the only movement where I will bring load down just in case, because I do not want to get injured. I don't want to get more injured than I am, to be honest. I could easily try and push weight up and try and do something I've never done before on an incline press, but it's probably a bit unnecessary. I'd rather bring the load down slightly and just be a bit more in control with the load. So that's what we're going to do. Bite the bullet. At least it's the only movement out of the week where I have to do this. So I can kind of get through the rest of the week pretty fine, and just make the load feel as heavy as possible, really. But I'll be pretty fatigued now after one set, so going into another 2 sets will obviously bring up some more fatigue, and should be easily able to hit that rep range after a heavy set. So I'll show you this as well. Good. So, 3 plates aside for set of 11. So we'll take that. Just wanted to run through kind of how I'm logging stuff at the moment. I'm not really, to be honest. What I thought I'd just show you. So, kind of just taking all of the compounds for the week and kind of just focused on progressing those. And that's it. My accessories just come afterwards and aren't really written down in the logbook. They're just kind of progressed by memory more than anything. See you there. And so numbers are moved up on compounds. So we got 2, 4, 6, 7 compounds for the week, which are all kind of moved up for progression and written down in here that I track. So that's probably like 2 movements per session. Obviously missing arms. There's no compounds in arms on Saturday, so that just gets moved around and worked on, just accumulating volume. But I'm kind of still going about the same way on how I progress. Training is just get a load that I can do for the lower end of the rep range, and then work up week by week on adding at least 1 rep per week till I get to the top of the rep range. Once I get to the top and it's solid, I will increase load, and then we just start again the process. So that's all I do with progression. Pretty simple. As long as I'm moving up every week in some sort of way, whether that be reps, execution, load, then we're in a good place and we're moving forward. So I can look back through. This is probably not going to make any sort of sense, but that's kind of like the progression there, which we are in currently week 11 since I started progressing. Give you an example. Hammer strength, we started at week 2 at 4 plates plus 5 aside for 10. We're now on 5 plates for 8. So, that's just an example. And that's kind of how every movement has worked in terms of progression through the weeks. And that's what I want to see at the end of the off season, is a big jump in progression and in strength. Basically kind of the strongest I've ever been at this body weight. So, but anyway, we're going to get into the last set, and then we'll get into some flies. cable flies. So set up in here, pretty simple. The handles, and then we got this back pad as well here, which basically just goes on the lower back. Works as a stabilizer basically while we're in the set. So really good finisher if you're wanting to finish with anything. Finish these. I'll show you obviously the set and how it looks, but mainly moderate load. I wouldn't go too heavy on these just because it's going to bring a lot of shoulder in, whether you like it or not, the heavier you go. So do a weight you can control for 12 to 15, and then obviously gradually work your way up, but don't go balls in too heavy because you'll hit a dead end pretty soon. And it's always about the stretch and contraction on here. Nothing too complicated. It's a fly, you know. There's not much you can do with a fly. Yeah, have a good form. If you want to try it out, go for it. If you don't, then don't. But yeah, we'll show you a few sets. I think I've got 4 sets on here. So 4 sets, 12, 15. Get the reps up. Take to failure and then into arms. So tricep, bicep, straight bar push down, which you just seen, and now into easy bar, straight curls, very basic, simple. 3 sets on each, going back to back, so superset. It's a good finisher. We can kind of just go straight in because arms are kind of warm anyway from the chest work we've done. Probably just need 1 warm up and then you can go straight into working weight. Rep range on here, 8 to 10, 8 to 10 on curls, 12 to 15 on triceps. Push load up on a bit on that, just so we can hit the rep range. Okay, so we're back, and just wrapping up that chest session because I didn't do it in the gym. It's actually like, what time is it? 22 2 minutes past 6 in the evening. So good session overall. Pretty happy with it. I'm just going over the footage, just making a post on Instagram, so I'll go over all the footage, which I'll do, and I always post on Instagram on the feed every single session pretty much. Well, I do post every single session, and I think I'm doing 2 physique updates. So kind of how, if you want a reason, or you follow my Instagram for a while and you're wondering why I post the same thing every single week, every single day pretty much, is to show you the reality of bodybuilding. I try not to kind of gift wrap anything, in a sense, so I don't really want to make everything look really nice, and I want to show you the reality of what bodybuilding actually is. And the reality of it is it's boring, it's consistent, it's very much monotonous, and that's the process. And every day is exactly the same, and every week is exactly the same, and it's all about repetition. So if you're finding my post boring and you're wondering why I'm posting the same thing every week, maybe bodybuilding isn't for you, because the reality of it is I post what I do. I post my life, and that is my life. It is bodybuilding. It is the same thing day in, day out, and repeating the process. I post 5 training sessions a week, and I post 2 physique updates a week. One being something from the front and one being something from the back, just to keep you updated, and honestly just to keep myself accountable. If I pressure myself into posting a front and back shot every single week through the whole off season, through the whole of prep, it helps in terms of me holding myself accountable, and meaning that I can't, obviously we don't want to post a picture of ourselves looking awful, which I've never wanted to do, and is the reason why I stay so consistent as I can, is so that I don't look horrendous in front of the camera, because I don't want to see that, and I want to take things consistently through the gram, and posting every week, posting physique updates all the time will keep the pressure on for sure. When you're in the boring stages of the off season, the goal of not getting fat, none of us want to get fat, but some of us do. I was pretty close to that last off season, where we pushed weight up and I got up to 315 pounds at the end of my off season. Now sitting at around 287, probably in about 8 to 9 weeks out condition, 10 weeks out max. But that's been our goal from the start. From the start of this off season was to hold that condition through the whole off season, not let it slip, because it's going to make prep so much easier. It's going to make prep very, very different, I feel, this time around. I've never been someone to hold onto my abs the whole way through the off season, and I've still got my obliques in play right now, and food is over 6,000 calories. So we're in a good spot. So, but I just wanted to wrap the video up here. But yeah, no, I do. I'm getting back on this. I'm getting used to this Osmo a bit better today, actually. A bit more fluent in how I filmed and just went about the session and didn't have to worry. I think it just took that first session to get into it and realise what I needed to do. It's a bit different than filming on your phone. I do really like filming on my phone. Obviously the camera's a bit better on here, and it gives a bit more of a width to the frame, so you can fit more in. Whereas the iPhone's very much like straightforward. It doesn't have much width on it, so it's obviously better filming on the Osmo. But just getting used to it is a bit of a tricky one. So we'll wrap it up there, guys. Appreciate you guys watching. We just continue with the off season. I'll keep bringing content out. Next time I have a food change, I will do a full day of eating. To be honest, I could already do a full day of eating now, but honestly, nothing much has changed. I'm pretty much eating the same sort of stuff. My rice meals that I was having in peak week, the rice, jam, peanut butter whey, I'm still having now for pre-workout. Post-workout cereal, and then we have an egg meal with cream of rice, 2 chicken meals, and then my last meal is actually bagels, two bagels, jam, peanut butter, and a small portion of Cocoa Pops and whey, obviously. And that's pretty much it. The only change on a rest day is I have salmon for one meal, but the rest is pretty much the same, just different quantities. And then my high day on Sunday, I probably could film that as well, but it's pretty much the same food, same meals throughout the day, and just lower protein, higher carbs are like 9, very close to 1,000, 980, something like that. Protein's low, fats are around 90, and I tend to drop weight off that every Sunday, well, every Monday morning, weight drops. And I'm having one off my meal a week as well, which is Five Guys at the moment. Standard. Done Five Guys for years now, every week. It's just something that stays consistent, digests really well, fills me out really well, pushes body weight up a bit, which is what we want, and it's fairly low volume as well, considering on how I only have 5 meals on my leg day instead of 6 because I have the Five Guys. And considering the amount of food I eat, I might have a pack of cookies afterwards or cheesecake, and weight seems to move up quite well even after 5 meals, so it packs some good amount of calories in, and that's kind of food wrapped up really. I will obviously do a video at some point on that, because I remember last off season I didn't actually film much full days of eating, and ended up being in a position where prep was starting and I was like, I haven't actually filmed a full day of eating in like 10 weeks. So I try and get on top of that. Work's just a bit manic at the moment. I'm a bit all over the place in terms of work. I haven't really had a day where I'm doing nothing, which means I can do a full day of eating when I'm doing nothing pretty much. Or I like to anyway, because I like to explain myself. I like to explain what I'm doing. I don't want it to just be, here's meal 1, here's meal 2. There's explanations for everything, so we'll get it in. So people who've been messaging me about videos, I apologise. Just getting used to this camera, and more content will be coming out. So anyway, we'll leave it there. Hope you enjoyed the session. Feel free to comment below any questions or DM me on Instagram, henry.taylor, if you have any questions as well, to do with bodybuilding in general, training, nutrition, coaching. I'm still offering coaching. I'm still doing online coaching. I've actually got a call tonight with a potential client from the US, so I do take on clients from overseas. I'm obviously from the UK, but I have clients in the States, in Canada. I used to have one in Hungary, UK, obviously. I think that's it. A lot of them are American, really. So if you are interested, give me a shout. We'll have a chat, see what we can do, put a plan together. So, right. I don't know why I even said that. I was going to say bye and say guys instead. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. See you next week.